Just let me go when I was ready to go, when I was ready to go back then. If they had just let me go, God only knows what I could have been.
Could have been something.
What I could have been. The top of the tier could have been.
Always the hardest. You sit there with half a mind and one eye on the clock.
At the end of the day, all I'm thinking about is coming home, taking off my uniform.
A cold can of Coke and a bag of chips.
Putting my feet up in front of the idiot box.
When that whistle blows, you got a lot of guys that just want to sit around and talk. Me? I just want to go home.
You know, it's a pretty good day laying stone. You get interested in what you're doing, and you try to fight the clock the other way. You're not worried about when it's quitting time. You're worried if you haven't gotten enough done already, and it's almost quitting time. You know, there isn't a house in this country that I haven't built that I don't look at every time I go by, and if there is one stone crooked, I notice it. The people who live in the house might not notice it, but I notice it. Stone's my business. Stone's my life.
He builds a house with his hands. 30 years go by, it stands where nothing stood. A house of stone, a mason sleeps real good. He does his work day flies. Quitting time's a big surprise, and then it's one more stone to get just right. It's always one more stone before the night. Every house he builds, every stone he lays, it's not just making money and counting off the days.
You know, someday when I retire, I'm gonna build myself a stone cabin down on the Green River. Stone cabinets in the kitchen, everything stone. A stone front door, that's gonna be heavy. All my dreams seems like they have to have a rock mixed up in them.
Builds a house with his hands. 100 years go by, it stands. It tells you who
there is nothing on God's green earth that is going to last forever. But with stone, you're getting pretty close.
Is made to last.
I can't relax, because when you ask a woman that's 38 years old, what does a press agent do? You force me to look back and see what an unfulfilling life I've had, my hopes, my aspirations, what I did with them, what being a press agent does to you. What have I wound up with? Rooms full of clippings and a case of colitis. I think I know what the main problem has been. The inability to say no, the fear you're going to miss something, the insistence on being part of everything. One psychiatrist said to me, a guy with one bottom can't ride two horses. Being a publicity person is a confession of weakness. It's for people who don't have the guts to get attention for themselves. In this work, you don't build anything. If I had a little mom and pop candy store and I built it up into a bigger store, I might have sold it for $1 million. Who do I sell my clippings to?
Television offers us this incredible fantasy about hospital work. Just think of Marcus Welby, all these sad, poor people going to this father figure for advice. When really, you go to a doctor and he doesn't tell you anything, and then you're sent to another doctor. What the television screen doesn't show is our true feelings about doctors, our resentment for how much money they make, and the frustration because they don't tell us anything. Movies often glamorize occupations. No kid says they want to be a waiter when they grow up, and when they do, they feel degraded. Movies often have a tendency to degrade people who don't have white-collar jobs. And, you know, I consider myself very lucky. I love what I do. I'm a film critic for The New Yorker, and I love what I do. I have worked most of my life at drudge jobs. I've worked that boring office job. I didn't think it was degrading or anything. I just felt it drained my energy and spirit. I do feel like most people work at jobs that demoralize them, dehumanize them, and mechanize them. When I did work at those drudge jobs, I felt awful every day. And I had a headache, and I just felt rotten. Now, in the last 20 years, I haven't taken an aspirin or even a pill in the last 20 years. You know what really bugs me? Is the housewife, who's always in need of a headache remedy from the stress and strain. Something terrible must be going on inside her if she's in that kind of shape. Of course, she's become a compulsive maniac about scrubbing, cleaning, and polishing. In that commercial. You know, it takes a lot of intelligence to handle children, and the process of watching them grow up is fascinating. Handling children is a lot more creativity than what the judge jobs their husbands do.
What's exciting at the bar that I can offer? It'd be very boring if I had to say, would you like a cocktail? Over and over. So I come out different for my own enjoyment. I say, what's exciting at the bar that I can offer? Or something. With cocktails, I give them a little philosophy. They have coffee, I give them political science.
I have an opinion on every single subject there is. My bosses don't like it, so I have to speak sotto voce. But if I get heated, I don't give a damn. I speak like an Italiana speaks. I have to be a waitress. How else does the world come to me? Everyone wants to eat, everyone has hunger, and I serve them. I give service, but I can't be servile. There is a difference. I get intoxicated with giving service. It becomes theatrical, and I feel like Mata Hari. It intoxicates me. I'm on stage. There's some as don't care when they put down a plate, there's a sound. Not with me. When they move a chair, it'll scrape with a grate on the ground. Not with me. Will have my hand right when I place a glass. Notice how I stand right as customers pass. Serve a demi-tasse with a gesture so gentle, or do it again till it's near Oriental. La 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 la. It's an art to be a fine waitress, to see that you pleasure each guest. There's a twist to my wrist when I bring your steak in, and watch how I take in your liver and bacon. It all will be stylish and smart. That's what makes it an art. I remember one day, as I do now and then, I had shakes. Down I went, there with my tray full of coffees and cordials and cakes. Down I went, but I kept my poise. Not one guest heard me fall. It annoys, not one noise, food and all. Crawl, you give them what they like. You carry your tray like it's almost ballet-like. La 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 da da dee da da. It's an art to be a fine waitress. Each evening I treasure the test. Like tonight was a fight, 'cause they hired this busboy. This clothes all a must boy, and guests heard him cuss boy. Did we have a quick heart to heart? Even that is an art. Ha! Tips are important for people like captains and barmen. For them, it's a tipsy. For me, I'm a gypsy. Just toss me a coin and I suddenly feel like I'm Carmen. So on through the ulcer, the backache, the hot, sweaty feet. On you go. Through is your knife dull, sir, and not quite
Miss.
Michelangelo.
And go back for my dog.
But I'm not just a waitress.
You were great,
I'm the one.
but I'm late. Please, 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 oh, please, lady, let's go.
After 16 years here, I went on a trip to Hawaii for 2 weeks. Went with my lover. And my eldest daughter says to me, "Act your age." You know what I said to her? I said, "Honey, if I acted my age, I wouldn't be walking. Not after 16 years on this job."
For 16 years, I worked for them. Then, overnight, they fired half of us. No goodbyes. One guy broke down and cried right there. He said, "Please, I've been a good worker. What did I do wrong? My daughter's getting married in 2 months. How am I going to face people?" People stop answering your calls. You try to visit your friends, but they don't have time for you. They've got their own work. This is psychological. I don't want to get into it.
It will be a year in November, and I'm still looking. But you just have to fight your way day by day, which I've done my whole life.
Don't get me wrong. In this economy, I'm glad to have any work at all. But after so many years, I just wish I knew what it was like not to have to work.
When I retired, the first 2 years I was downhearted. I had nothing to do and nowhere to go. But then I gave myself a good going over. Joe, I said, you can't sit at home like that and do nothing. You gotta get out. You gotta do things. Well, the day goes pretty fast for me now. I don't daydream at all. I just think of something and I forget it. That daydreaming, it don't do you no good. Keep busy, keep moving. That's the trick. You wake at 10, fold up the bed. You don't want to leave your couch open all day, you know? It's depressing. You cook an egg, you toast some bread. You cook for yourself, you save a bundle. If you don't keep track of your money, who will? You think about the day ahead. You don't go feeling sorry for yourself. It's like I said, you can sit at home and be mad at the world, or you can get out and do things. You take a walk, you meet a chum. This one guy lives down by the National Biscuit. Boy, you should see the nice aroma. You shoot the bull, you argue some, or maybe he calls up a couple of other fellows, come over and play some poker. You lose at gin until they come. This guy remembers what cards you picked up. The dirty bum. But if you're getting beat at gin, beats doing nothing. You take a walk, you meet a pal. Oh my. You go to work, you do. Or maybe you go visit your cousin. You bring a six-pack along. You take a stroll down memory lane. When we were young, we was always together. And Raising Cane, we go back a long ways, him and me. Oh, the times we had. I remember once, back in '62, we was at this fair with these girls we knew on this crazy ride where you screamed or before you prayed. The Big Dipper, they called it. We could hardly walk as we left the car, so we staggered down for a candy bar, and we sat and laughed in the penny arcade. At 6 o'clock, you watch the news. Them politicians get you so mad you throw your slippers at the set. You cook some franks, no big to-dos. Most nights you sit around, you straighten up, maybe you call your daughter. You watch a game, you take a snooze, but then there's Sunday. Sunday's different. You change your shirt and shine your shoes, 'cause you're going around the block to the tavern. You shoot some pool, you drink some beer. You don't have to drink a lot to have a good time, maybe 3, 4 in an evening. You find a pal, you bend his ear. Meet a lot of your old crowd there Sundays. Most nights a bunch of you sing. The kind of song you never hear, like Stardust or In the Mood. And then you cheer. Last Sunday night we sang Till We Meet Again. Believe it or not, I once did a waltz to that tune. Honest to God. It was at a dance, I was 17, and the girl was like from a magazine, and the lights were low, and I really mean low. I think a couple of my friends had something to do with that. And I kissed her cheek as we waltzed away. I remember that like it's yesterday. Boy, was she surprised. I can hear her say, Joe! They take you home from round the block. You take your cash out of your sock. You check the door, you check the lock. You wind the clock. When I retired, a lot of folks told me, Joe, you got your health. You shouldn't have done it. But it was too late. I don't know why I retired. It was what I was supposed to do, I guess. But I got no regrets. I keep busy, keep moving. I go to fires every once in a while. That fire we had on Milwaukee Avenue about 3 months ago, I was there. I was surprised the smoke was coming out of there heavy as hell, but you don't see no flames, you know? Boy, that was some fire.
It's dark in there. Smoke's pouring out of the goddamn building. All happens real fast. I feel this tremendous heat to my left. I turn around. The whole building's orange, yellow. You can just feel the heat, see the yellow. The lieutenant and the other firemen, they get the ladder up, save 2 guys. But there's a guy downstairs trying to get out the door. They bolted that door. He was burnt dead. Know what the lead man said?
We lost a guy. Jesus Christ, we lost a guy.
You saved 2 people. How are you supposed to know there's a guy sleeping on the pool table?
Yeah, but we lost a guy.
I always wanted to be a fireman. A lot of guys want to be firemen. It's like kids. Everybody's still a kid. Guy's 40 years old. Still feels like a kid on the inside. Just doesn't have as much hair as he used to. I used to be a cop. You know why I switched? I like people. Sometimes, when I was a cop, I could feel the hate coming into me. I remember this one time. We was at this project, and there's a big black guy, about 6'7", at the top of the stairs. This guy's back turned to me. I say to him, "Hey, fella, turn around." Shouts back to me, "Yeah, just wait a minute." And he's got his arms around his belt, and I see his elbows moving around. And I say, "Hey, turn around." And that's when it dawns on me. He's got a gun caught in his belt, and he's struggling to get it out. So I say, "Damn." So I pull out my gun, I point it at him, and I say, "I'm gonna shoot." He throws his hands up against the wall. He was just trying to zip up his fly, which I couldn't see. Maybe a lot of guys, they would have shot him. But me? I just said, "Holy shit, I could have shot you." And he was shaking, and the gun in my hand was shaking. I just said, "Get the hell out of here." So I took the fireman test in 98. Got called in 99. No, this world's messed up. The country too. But the firemen, you see them produce. You see them put out fires. You see them carry out babies from buildings in their hands. You see them giving mouth to mouth to the guy who's dying on the floor. You can't get around that stuff. That's real. You know, I used to be an accountant. It's all just paper, just numbers written down. That's not real. But me, I can look back on my life and I can say, I helped put out a fire. I helped save somebody's life. Somebody could be born. Somebody could grow old because of what I did. Show something that I did on this earth.
He had a very good day today. We went down to the senior center just a mile away. Some days he only wants to stay at home, but on Tuesdays they play music and they dance. You should have seen him dance. They were playing Spanish music. He's he's a ham, he likes to make the nurses smile. Some days he can't remember who I am, but today he was lucid for a little while. Through it all I take his pulse, I change his clothes. Where are his children? Heaven knows. It doesn't pay much, but I get through, 'cause I do the work that no one wants to do.
She had a very good day today. We went to a nearby park where she likes to play. She's only 5, but she can do it all. And today we took her scooter for a ride. You should have seen her glide, and I was terrified. I spent the afternoon just running by her side. Some days I only want to stay at home. Her parents work late, and I tuck her in each night. And I sing Mahal Kita, Mina Mahal Kita, Mahala Mahal Kita, till she's asleep. She says I love you, and I love her too, while I do all the work her mother doesn't do.
I have a family of my own. I'll send whatever I can spend. Sometimes I close my eyes and imagine I am there. Duermete,
Mahal Kita,
duermete,
Mina Mahal Kita,
hasta la madrugada, duermete.
Mahal
We
Kita,
had a very good day
Mina Mahal
today.
Kita,
We went down to the senior center, just a mile away. One day my dreams are gonna all come true. For now I do what no one wants to do. For now I do what no one wants to do.
You know what I always wanted to do? I wanted to play the piano. And I'd write songs and things about my life, growing up in the South, about my mama and my grandmama. And now I got my own beautiful daughter. And do I have plans for her? So that's why I leave my house every morning and go scrub rooms up at the Marriott. And at night, I come here to this office, and it's scrubbing again. For generations, that's all we've done, scrubbing. But my daughter, she ain't gonna do no domestic work. I aim to be the end of that particular line. Mama worked just like her mama before her. Domestic working was the trade. There was laundress, cook, and a living help. Thursday girl, babysitter, and a hotel maid. There were 6 days a week, all day long, and never could get out of there. Those were the days when the minimum wage was anything you could get. There was cleaning a window. All day long I'm thinking my kids is in the street somewhere, but the folks up in their rooms don't think you're thinking half the time. Always talking around you like you ain't even there. So it does something to my mind. Got a daughter with a head on her shoulders and pretty as a picture too. No, she ain't gonna have that pretty face behind closed doors. But the floors like her mama do. My legs don't give out, my back hold up. I'm gonna make it a better day.
Oh, one of these days.
You'll never see her getting down on her knees unless she's down there to pray.
No more
Cleaning a women without faces.
no, no.
She's gonna walk in
On a miss last name basis.
She'll be the first in this family
First in this family.
to have a face you can see, Lord. She ain't gonna be stuck inside no laundry room.
Oh, no.
When she's sleeping, she'll be pushing her own broom.
Someday.
Come when she can sleep till noon. Long as she can get up singing her own tune for me that day. Lord, for me that day.
For me that
Can't come too soon.
can't come too soon, too soon. That day can't come. No, 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 can't come too soon.
I come from 4 generations of cleaning women. But my daughter, she's a whole new generation. That's what we've got coming up for us. A whole new generation.
My name is Ralph Werner, and I'm 19 years old. I ran this mutual fund for the students in my school. My father owns his own investment firm. I guess that's where I learned. He owns a hedge fund. You know, those guys always getting caught defrauding their investors. We studied ethics in school, so I should be okay. I plan to go to business school, Kellogg's naturally. What I'd really like to be is a professional golfer. But realistically, I'll be an entrepreneur. And then I'll start a family. My, quote, dream girl, unquote, has long brunette hair, but doesn't have to wear a lot of makeup, because she's gonna be naturally pretty. She's gonna have to have a good personality, though, because when we're 30 and we're moving up the ladder, there's gonna have to be a lot more than looks. I plan to have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. I want my house to be on the colonial side, possibly leaning towards Mediterranean style. Maybe it could even be backing right on a golf course. Then my wife and I, well, we could play golf whenever we want. I hope my wife knows how to play golf.
My name is Carol. I'll be 20 in 3 weeks. So I got recommended for this job in a newsroom on a Chicago paper. Went down to the paper, talked to the editor, told him how much I wanted to become a journalist. He liked me. I had a dress on. Coming to work was a kind of a missionary kind of thing for me. I was bringing organic walnuts and organic raisins and just giving them away to everybody. See, at this stage of the game, I was in a very spiritualistic mood. I was actually enjoying my job.
mostly because I was answering phone messages most of the time. See, people would call up and complain or have a problem, and I'd say, "This is a capitalist newspaper, and as long as it's a capitalist newspaper, it's not gonna serve you because its purpose is to make money for its owner." And I tell them to call up the editor or come down and take over the paper. A lot of people responded really well to these suggestions. But the editor, he calls me into his office and is like, blah, 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 blah. I wanted to take a baseball bat and smash his head in. I mean, he's a nice person. I like him a lot. I don't know if I'd get any pleasure from shooting him. But my fantasy offspring of the paper has been getting a gun and shooting him. Or getting a gun, walking into his office and asking, "Okay, so how do you face your death?" I've been thinking for months, what am I gonna do when I get fired? I had to do something to show them, hey, I'm better than you jerks, and I'm getting fired because I'm different. I had to think fast. So I looked at the editor and I said, "I hope you can live with the conditions you're creating." And I walked out and I started to cry. But the editor, he hurries after me and he's like, "Wait a minute, I didn't create these conditions, you did." And I said, no, I'm not the one who has the power. You're the one who has the power. Now I've got myself on unemployment. They were nice to me the first couple of times. This one lady, she told me to get a number. I was gonna say, "Excuse me, lady, but I could wait outside your apartment, knock you upside the head, and steal your money." But that's bitterness. I don't like being bitter. I'm a pacifist.
Say where you're going, my son. Now I know they're true. And boy, you never stop to think how fast the years run. Now they've taken you. I remember you was 3 and a half. Your mom and me, we'd sit there after things got quieted. We'd laugh at some new word you said, how tough you were to get to bed, and we'd plan the night away, planning for our kid. I was your hero then. I couldn't do no wrong as far as you were concerned. You thought I was the best of men. The tables hadn't turned. You hadn't learned how little time it takes, and daddies make mistakes. It seems to me that lately I've been thinking a lot. Think about my dad. Lots of funny things come back I thought I'd forgot. Now they make me sad. High school and it used to be, I didn't want him touching me, and I shuddered if he did. But further back to summer nights, baseball games beneath the lights, and sleeping in the car, my daddy and his kid. thought he was the wisest and the strongest and the best of men. The tables hadn't turned, I hadn't learned how little time it takes. And everybody breaks, and daddies make mistakes. This may sound square, but my kid is my imprint. You know what I mean? This is why I work. Every time I see a smart young guy walking by dressed real sharp, I'm looking at my kid. You know what I want? I want him to tell me he's not gonna be like me. I want him to look at me and say, Dad, you're a nice guy, but you're real stupid. Hell yeah. If you can't improve yourself, you improve your posterity. Otherwise, life isn't worth living. You might as well go back to the cave and stay there. And you know what? I'm sure the first caveman who ever went to see what's on the other side of that cave, he didn't go solely out of curiosity. He went to get his son out of the cave. I heard a lot of songs say, where you going, my son? Now I know they're for real. And boy, you never stop to think how fast the years run, and the things they steal. Now it seems I always knew why I do the things I do and the things I never did. Why I worked my whole damn life so's I could give a better life than the one my dad could give me. I'd give it to my kid.
You take any piece of work, even, say, Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. Beautiful piece of art. But what if you had to build it, the Sistine Chapel, 1,000 times a year? Do you think that would dull even Michelangelo's mind?
See, it's not just about the work. Someone had to build the pyramids.
The Sears Tower, the pyramids, these things don't just happen.
I don't care how little you did. You drive down that road and you say, I worked on this.
If you see some guy driving by on the bridge that you built, you say, hey, I built that bridge.
I think that if a carpenter builds a cabin for poets, then the poets owe the carpenter a little plaque. Just 3 or 4 lines.
Though we labor with our minds, this place that we can relax in was built by someone who can work with their hands.
Picasso can point to a painting.
Authors can point to a book.
What could I point to?
Everyone should have something to point to.
You know what I'd like? I would like to see a building, say, the Sears Tower. I would like to see, on one side of that building, a foot-wide strip from top to bottom with the names of everybody who worked in or on that building. all the names. So when a guy walked by, he could take his son and say, "See that building?"
I was the one who did the design. I was the one who drafted the plan.
Every detail and every line.
See that building?
I ran the crane that lifted the beams. I was the guy that worked up above.
Every detail and every line.
See that building? See that building? 40 flights up, I scratched my name.
See that building?
I'm on the staff, I work as a guard.
People don't know my job is hard. See that building? I work at a desk.
I do the books.
I hustle around.
9 on the dot, I punch my card.
See that window?
Up by the ledge, 10 from the top.
See that window?
Count from the left. 1,
2,
3,
stop! That's where I work. Everyone should have something to point to, something to be proud of.
Look what I did, see what I've done.
I did the job.
I was the one.
Everyone should have something to point to, someone to be tall in the crowd.